Having access to the sea is the type of thing countries will start world wars over, and causes strange border situations like these exclaves, which are parts of countries only accessible by land through other countries, like this piece of Russia detached from the rest. To understand why, we need to go back to World War I. Before the war, East Prussia, a border region of the German Empire, covered the land which became the exclave. After the war, Poland was created and given West Prussia, so it could have a corridor to the sea. The port of Danzig was technically independent, but under the economic control of Poland, so it could have a port on the Baltic, which was crucial for its economic development. This made for some unhappy Nazis, something never good. The Nazis had been studentally expanding their borders, claiming it was for the good of the Germans in those countries. So in 1939, when the Nazis demanded the Polish corridor and Danzig, the British and French assured Poland that they had their support if it came to war. Poland told the Nazis no, and started World War II. The Nazis and the Soviets had a secret agreement to divide Eastern Europe between them, disguised as a non-aggression pact. The Soviets received the Baltics and Eastern Poland, and the rest was the Nazis. The Nazis broke the pact and invaded the Soviets, but were eventually defeated. East Prussia was divided between the Soviet Union and Poland, and the German inhabitants were expelled. The Soviet part was renamed Kaliningrad and was resettled by Russians. Kaliningrad looked attached to the rest of the country, but the Soviet Union was a union of Soviet Socialist republics. Kaliningrad, inhabited by Russians, was part of the Russian-Soviet Federative Socialist Republic, but the surrounding area, inhabited by Lithuanians, was the Lithuanian Soviet Socialist Republic. So Kaliningrad was an exclave of the Russian SFSR within the USSR. But there were no problems since all the SSRs had the same central government. That changed in 1991 when the Soviet Union dissolved. Lithuania split away, but Kaliningrad was a part of the Russian Federation and remained, leaving Russia with the exclave it has today. Control of Kaliningrad is crucial to Russia as it is the home of their Baltic fleet. While Russia does have a coast near St. Petersburg, the Gulf of Finland has a tendency to freeze over. Kaliningrad isn't the only place like this. For example, there's a tiny piece of Angola cut off by the Democratic Republic of Congo along the Congo River. If you think the borders of Africa don't make any sense, you're right. The borders on the continent rarely follow any logical pattern, and instead reflect the strategic goals of the European powers that carved up the continent at the end of the 1800s. The Portuguese began colonizing the coast near the Congo in the 1400s, but did not move inland until the Belgian king Leopold tried to make the Congo his own personal property, not even a colony of Belgium. The French wanted a peace, so they established colonies on the north bank of the Congo. The Portuguese, with the support of the British, blocked access to the mouth of the river. To resolve this situation and others, the European powers met at the Berlin Conference of 1885 and agreed to split up the continent. The Congo Free State became the personal property of the Belgian king and was given a strip of land near the mouth of the river, splitting the Portuguese territory into a small area around the city of Cabinda and the rest of Angola. They were separate colonies until 1956, when Portugal gave control of Cabinda to the colonial government of Angola. Angola gained independence in 1975, but it was plagued by civil wars. Cabinda often tried to achieve independence, but Angola does not want to lose its vast offshore oil reserves, which Angola relies on for 2/3 of its production. Back in Europe, Croatia looks like it's blocking Bosnia and Herzegovina from the sea. But if you look closely, you'll see a 20-kilometer strip which connects it to the Adriatic, detaching a piece of Croatia. To understand why, we need to go back to 1699. After a war, the Republic of Ragusa and the Dalmatian possessions of Venice were separated by a small strip of the Ottoman Empire. Venice would remain in control of Dalmatia until its defeat by Napoleon in 1797. By 1809, the French Empire controlled all of Dalmatia, including the Republic of Ragusa, except for the parts controlled by the Ottoman Empire. After Napoleon's defeat in 1815, the Austrian Empire gained the French territories. The 1878 Treaty of Berlin created the Kingdom of Serbia, and put Bosnia and Herzegovina under the control but did not make officially a part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Serbia opposed the empire annexing Bosnia in 1908 because of its high Serb population. This dispute would be resolved peacefully. World War I. Suddenly the Kingdom of Serbia became the Kingdom of Yugoslavia and controlled all the lands. The internal divisions of Yugoslavia between the world wars were different than the modern states, but the partisan forces that liberated Yugoslavia from the Axis favored the borders from 1878. So when Yugoslavia split up in 1992, Croatia was left with an exclave on the coast. The need for the sea should not be underestimated. Clean borders come second to a country's strategic goals, often to the detriment of the people who live there. If you like geopolitics, you'll like this video where I explain why I think Istanbul is the most strategically important city in the world. Also, please consider clicking the glowing subscribe orb.